Hello everyone, welcome back to Pop and Culture. Today we're gonna talk about the 10 most influential females in the music industry within the pop genre. So let's get right into it. On number 10 I have Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande started her music career earlier this decade with her first studio album. And I think with her third studio album she reached her first peak in her career with Dangerous Woman. It's also my favorite album by Ariana. Ariana has an amazing voice, some of the greatest vocals I think of any artist of our generation. Really, discovered her own sound and made her own sound with her last two albums, Sweetener and Thank You Next. It is pop, but it has a little bit of a trap beat and genre to it, which works for her. I would love another pop album from Ari like Dangerous Woman. I would love an like all ballad album when she is like 30, 40 years old. I think she will stick around for a while in the music industry, and she truly will be one of the greatest, new pop girls this upcoming decade, and she will grow a lot. Then on number 9 I have Pink. Now Pink has been in the music industry for over 20 years right now. Her first solo album came out in 2000, and before that she was in small girl bands and she was already writing and recording a lot of music, but her first solo album came out in 2000. She has been so consistent within her music this past 2 decades. I think what makes her really strong are all of her singles. She has some of the greatest and biggest singles within the pop rock genre. Try, Funhouse, So What, Blow Me One Last Kiss. Also she has some great and decent albums out there, but mostly I think she is an incredible singles artist, but she also has some great albums out there. And also what keeps her relevant and what keeps her one of the best females in the industry is the fact that she is incredible live. I've never seen her live yet in concert. I can wait for it to happen. But I mean, if you watch her performances live, if you watch her concerts, she is amazing. She is flying, she is dancing, she is singing, she has an incredible voice, and it's a whole show. She is a great female. And my number 9. Then we move on to the one and only Princess of Pop, Miss Britney Spears. Now, Britney Spears has, I think, been one of the most influential artists in pop music ever. Her sounds, her image, she is truly a pop icon. She has some great albums out there, but also some great singles like Piece of Me. Gimme More is a classic. If You Seek Amy and Piece of Me are those typical Britney songs where she claps back at the media and, at some of the people within the music industry, because she has faced some hardships in her career. But she always, she kept going. Every era for Britney was different. She was growing up within her music. She is truly a pop icon and she's great live. Now, she maybe doesn't always sings live, but her performances are big. There is dancing. It's great, and Britney truly is a pop icon. And I think she had a lot of influence on this day, on the artists of this day and age within the pop music genre, and a lot of people look up to her. So yeah, Miss Britney Spears, honey, the Princess of Pop, is on my number 8. Then on number 7, I have the one and only Rihanna. Now, just like Katy Perry and Lady Gaga, those 3 ladies ruled the 2010s, especially the early 2010s. They were so consistent with their music, release after release. She has some of the funniest, just like Pink, pop singles out there, with one of the highlights being Only Girl in the World. It is a classic within pop music. I think her best records are Unapologetic and Anti. And I think you can really see grow within her music. Like every album is a bit better. Every album is a bit more mature. She switches it up. Every album, every era is something unique and different, just like Britney Spears and Gaga do. There is a new hairstyle, there is a new image. I think also she has a lot of influence on artists from this day and age. Her performances are great, and she has some of the best pop albums out there, and also is a great singles selling artist. So yeah, Rihanna on number 7. Then on number 6, almost made my top 5, Katy Perry. Now Katy Perry is one of the biggest figures in pop music this past decade, honey, and she's still going. Katy released 5 albums as of now. Some of the albums are really great. My personal favorite is Prism, but I think mostly she is known for her incredible singles like California Girls, Teenage Dream, Never Really Over, Daisy's, Firework. She is for sure an album selling artist, but especially she is great at selling singles. She has some of the most fun and poppy sounding singles of this past decade. Her biggest genre is pop music. I loved what she was doing also in the beginning of her career with her first album, One of the Boys, which was very pop rock. Her performances are always really fun, but mostly she has some of the greatest pop singles of the last decade, and she truly is a light within the music industry. It's always fun, it's always poppy, and I always enjoy listening to her music, especially some of her funniest and catchiest singles. So yeah, Katy Perry on number 6. And then we are in the top 5. And on number 5, I have Taylor Swift, which is clever if you think about it, because Taylor Swift, her first fully pop album was released in 2014. And before that, she released country music only. Now, Red she released in 2012, which was pop with a little bit of country, but her first full pop album was 1989. Now, I think 1989 is one of the best pop albums ever released. It's so catchy, it's so cohesive. I think Taylor Swift is an album selling artist. Her albums are all pretty great. Maybe have 3 or 4 skips, but that's it. 1989, Reputation are 2 albums with no skips. Folklore, an album that she released this year in 2020, is also really great. Her albums are consistent. Every time it's something different. She is growing within every era. She is reinventing herself all the time. She has released 8 albums within only 15 years. She is consistent. She is fun. She is growing as an artist. And I think she is, versatile. She can do country. She can do pop. She can do folk. And I'm excited for what she's gonna do next, because with Taylor you never really know, and I like that about her. So yeah, Taylor Swift, number 5. Then we move on to number 4, which is Adele. Yes, honey, Adele. Now, she's been in the game for over 10 years now in the music industry, with having released only 3 studio albums, 19, 21, 25. She is consistent within her music. We always can expect an emotional, honest album. 21 is a classic. It's timeless. It's great. All of her albums have no skips. She's an incredible vocalist, and she is timeless. All of her records are timeless. You can still listen to 19, 21, and 25 right now. She has some great singles, but honestly, she is an album selling artist. Her albums are great. Her voice is great. Live, she is amazing. Adele, we're waiting on your next record, honey. I hope it's coming soon, because, honey, Adele, yes, my number 4. Alright, now we're at the top 3. And to start the top 3 off, I'll start with my number 3, which is Lady Gaga. Now, I think Lady Gaga is one of the most interesting artists right now in this day and age, and one of the most interesting artists of the past decade. Gaga has been so, all over the place within her music. She has released 3, 4 pop albums. She released a country album, Joanne. She released a jazz album with Tony Bennett. You never know what she is gonna do next. All of her albums are great. Maybe have two skips, but that's it. She is an album selling artist first. She has some great singles out there. I think it's safe to say that Lady Gaga truly redefined what pop culture and pop music means. When she, honey, released her first debut album, The Fame, which is one of the best selling dance albums of all time, it's still charting on the Billboard Top 100. And then when she released The Fame Monster, honey, she redefined what pop culture and pop music means. When she was wearing the me dress to the VMAs, when she was performing her first performance at the VMAs, all bleeding while singing Paparazzi, it was a tribute to Marilyn Monroe and what fame can due to artists and to people. It was incredible. Then she released Born This Way, which is a record all about self-discovery and self-love. Then she released a pop EDM record that's called Art Pop, her most experimental to date. She has released 6 studio albums within 12 years. She has released a soundtrack. She has released a collaboration album with Tony Bennett. She has done pop, jazz, rock, music. She's done it all. She's a chameleon within the music. You never know what she's gonna do next. And I think she will stick around for 20, 30 more years. She will be the next queen of pop. And last but not least, besides from the fact that her music is great and she always experiments with music and different sounds and different genres, she has been an outlier for the LGBTQ plus community, for equal rights. She's spoken out about politics, and she is one of the best live performers of our generation. She's great singing live. She can dance. She gives you a show. There are props. There are dancers. And she can also just be alone on that stage and singing one of her best ballads with just her and a piano. Lady Gaga for sure. Number 3. Then we move on to Beyonce on number 2. Now for sure, Beyonce has released 6 solo albums. She also released an album with Jay-Z. She released Black is King last year. And before she released solo albums, she has been in the game for a while, honey, because she was a part of Destiny's Child, one of the most successful girl groups ever. I think her best album is Beyonce, her self-titled record, I Love Lemonade. It's a great album. Also For I Am Such a Fierce is a great album. She had the whole nation, the whole world dancing to Single Ladies. It was a moment on its own. And from there on, she kept going with these empowerment anthems like Run the World. Then she came back in 2016 with Lemonade, with Formation. She is consistent within her music while still being experimental like Lady Gaga. She released pop, she released R&B, she released urban music. She is all over the place, but so consistent within her career. She is incredible live, just like Lady Gaga. You have to see her live in concert. And she is for sure one of the most inspirational artists of this past decade, and even before that, and she will continue to be this up-and-coming decade. She has inspired artists and so many different people. And then, my number 1, of course, the queen of pop herself, Madonna. Not this decade, the past decade, the decade before this. Honey, she has been in the game for over 30 years right now. She has released 14 studio albums. She has influenced artists like Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Dua Lipa, Katy Perry, Britney Spears, and many more. She rules pop music. Her genre is pop music. But within pop music, she's been so experimental. She released electronic music. She has an album that is more techno-y pop. She has an album that's more acoustically driven. Every album, every era she has had has been different. Her whole imagery, her whole storytelling has been different. She has been so consistent within her music. She is the best selling female artist ever. She has sold so many records, millions of records. She has some of the best-selling tours of all time. She is incredible live. Her concert, it is a musical, honey. There is clothing, there is props, there is dancers, there is storytelling. She has released some of the best albums in history. She has released Confessions on a Dance Floor, which is this great pop disco records, one of the best pop records in history, alongside with Blackout from Britney Spears, Born This Way from Lady Gaga. And then she had another big reinvention and peak in her career with Ray of Light in 1999, which had this more electro pop, techno pop sounding sound, which was very not mainstream, and she brought it to the mainstream. She all did it first. She paved the way for women and men in the music industry. She is a great live performer, and she really paved the way, honestly. So yes, the Queen of Pop, of course, is on number one, the one and only Madonna. So yeah, that was my top 10 with the most influential artists, females of this decade. I think what the key is to becoming an icon, to becoming legendary, is to be you, to be original, to reinvent yourself, to experiment, to be a great live performer. And then, honey, you will stick around. Look at Madonna, honey. Her live performances are incredible. Look at Pink. Look at Lady Gaga. They are great live performance. And that's truly what keeps them going. Just like Beyonce. They're also all consistent, honey. They release an album every 3 or 4 years. They experiment within music. Gaga has done pop and country. Taylor Swift has done pop and country. Madonna has done pop, like a more acoustic record. Beyonce has done R&B and pop music. They are great live performance, and they reinvent themselves with every album, which I think is the key to longevity and to be successful within the music industry. So comment down below if you agree with my top 10. Of course, some artists could not make my list. I respect Kesha a lot. I respect Sia. I respect Nicki Minaj. But of course, I had to make a top 10, and I think this top 10 is great, and I think all of these ladies are the most influential females we have seen this past decade, and maybe even the decade before this, honey, because they're so influential, great live performances, and consistent within their music. So let me know if you agree. Subscribe if you wanna see more pop culture and pop music related videos. And yeah, I will see you guys soon in a new video. So make sure to subscribe. Bye.